Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast.
Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Dr. Kevin Payne. Dr. Kevin Payne is a social psychologist, entrepreneur, author, and skydiver, and he's doing it all with multiple sclerosis. When he lost everything he cared about, he decided to rebuild his life by facing the fear of his uncooperative body in the air and becoming a skydiver. 600 jumps later and counting, he found his home in the sky. Born from a decade of research, Your Life Lived Well is his labor of love. A book, a podcast, a curriculum of classes, organizational services, and technology. They all support those whose lives have been touched by a chronic illness. There's no one answer to living well, but Dr. Payne is committed to showing you the practical tools you can use to build the life you want. We may be sick, but we can still live well. Well, good afternoon, Dr. Payne. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Brian. I'm delighted to be here.
I really appreciate it. It's funny, last week I had someone from Kansas City, but typically I'm traversing the globe virtually to 40 different countries and growing. But it's so great to have another guest, again, locally here in Kansas City. And I appreciate everything that you're doing, what you've done, and the challenges you've gone through in the course of your life. So, Dr. Payne, we're going to just jump right in here and talk about your career in technology. You're a data scientist, a serial entrepreneur, and now the founder and CEO of Your Life Lived Well. Could you share with our audience the secret to your career growth and what inspires you?
Well, I don't think I have any secrets. And I'm a little leery of anybody who says they do have a secret, but I am too curious, I'm sure, for my own good. I'm probably too restless. I can't say no to a new experience. I kind of think life is about collecting new experiences. And I'm probably not risk averse enough for my own good. So I spent 15 years as a professor. That's like, climbing the tenure track. That's like the safest job in the world. And a decade ago, I left to be a full-time tech entrepreneur. So most people would say that's probably not a wise decision, but it was one that made me feel good. And a lot of my professional decisions have been really inspired by getting involved with people who are trying to push the edges in ways that improve quality of life and make the world a better place. As a scientist, I feel really privileged that I've been able to spend my life studying people, doing something I really love to do. And I think that gives me a responsibility to try to do something meaningful and useful with that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And as most of our audience probably doesn't know, but your background starting out in that very safe institutional type of setting, and then you move to do something crazy and exciting. And one of the things you've done besides being an entrepreneur is you've got 600 plus skydives under your belt.
That is true.
That is just simply amazing. So thank you. And so let's talk about your book a little bit, Kevin. What inspired you to find your company, of course, and then what's in that new book?
Well, I live with multiple sclerosis. So my life has been turned upside down and inside out by chronic illness. I also spent a decade supporting a wife with an advanced cancer. And so I've lived the challenges of chronic illness as a caregiver too. And what I learned living it was that it's not just a diagnosis. We tend to think of chronic illness as a list of medical signs and symptoms, and that's all it is. But it changes everything about our lives. And half of all Americans are now living with at least one chronic condition. And we're not trained to live that way. Our medical system is built on an acute care model, and our caregivers are not trained to best support people with chronic illness. So if you look at the research, 2/3 of all health outcomes are due to cognitive, behavioral, social, and a little bit of environmental factors. So what that means is most of the quality of life that we live is not going to be coming directly out of the medical healthcare system. It's going to be in how we change our mindset and behavior and that sort of thing. Well, as a social and behavioral scientist, that's what I do. So Your Life Lived Well is about building and delivering technologies that help us stop being our own bottleneck, improving our quality of life, even when we have to live with something really bad that we can't get away from.
Thank you for sharing. Again, everybody has their own inspiration, but I think sometimes, as in your case, you've had multiple challenges that you've had to deal with, and finding that inspiration is certainly something that people can look up to or relate to in some cases. So thank you. Kevin, you've obviously leveraged some newer and emerging technologies within your career, especially in the data science world. But what do you think is the most promising technology right now?
There are so many promising technologies right now. I mean, in biomedicine, in genetic medicine, in material science, nanotechnology. But as you said, I'm a social and behavioral scientist. I'm a data scientist. So what really excites me right now, what I like to think of as human augmentation technologies. So how can we help support ourselves to be better humans and live better qualities of life? And we can do a lot of that right now with the right kinds of intelligent information technology. And of course, we too often end up using our new technology for Angry Birds and TikTok and stuff like that. And yeah, there's a place for that, but we can also use it to improve how we live. And so that's what Your Life Lived Well is about. It's about the education and technology that allows us to implement and maintain better decisions in our own lives.
Thank you. That is very well spoken, very kind to share, again, things that come straight out of your heart, again, with a lot of the challenges that you've been through. So thank you. And Kevin, last question here. Our audience would like to know a little bit more about if you could share something from your career experience that might be helpful for those looking to grow their career in either tech or entrepreneurship.
I've got two quick lessons that I think are the most important. And the first one is no means next. If you are going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to have to get out there and you're going to have a lot of no's. And no's become really discouraging when they add up. But each no is an invitation to a next opportunity. And no means next has been my mantra in some of the really darkest places in my life where I was trying to build a new market. And the second thing that I think is sort of related to that is that no matter what your business, and this is something you should especially keep in mind in technology, every business is a people business.
It is, especially technology. You and I both have been down that career path in this space, this vertical, and people are really the center of it all. So I appreciate you sharing. And Kevin, it was a pleasure having you on today, and I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
Well, thank you so much, and very best to you, Brian, and your audience. Thanks for spending time with me.
Bye for now.